Hey, what's up guys? Diplex here again. Welcome back to Star Wars Galaxy at War. Super excited to be back with another battle. We're on a map made by Mr. Blood Moon. We've used his maps before. We have plenty to go through, so expect more Star Wars content coming up this month of July. But today's map is Yavin IV. We're about to enjoy kind of a tug of war between Rebels and Stormtroopers here on this beautiful battlefield. We have two approaches, the left one and the right one that we just came back from. They're essentially two bridges, but they vary in size and surrounding area. So, I think it's going to be a pretty awesome fight. So let me know in the comment sections down below what you would like to see in terms of Star Wars content. Do you prefer Clone Wars or Galactic Civil War? I want to know because I will focus on what you guys want to see the most. So without further ado, guys, let's get this battle started. And I don't know if you've noticed, but my HUD is completely gone today. I don't know why it's working. Every now and then it does, but today was the day it actually decided to work. Before, I had this questionable player icon in the top left, as you can see now, and I have this finish and start button down in the bottom right. It doesn't really ruin the experience, but it's not fully cinematic, it's not fully gone. And I could also enable the minimap, which was quite handy at times, but we never really used the minimap during our battles. So now, for some reason, someone or something is smiling at me. I feel like it's gonna be a pretty good July. I mean, it's almost, past half July, but still, I'm happy. We got full cinematic mode going. So we have Rebels and Stormtroopers approaching each other from both sides here. The first Stormtroopers attacking are going to face a small set of Rebel defenders outside the base perimeter and the bridge itself. We have some scout troopers up here who have been scouting out the enemy positions prior to the assault. That's awesome. We also have combat going on here on the right side of the map. More Stormtroopers moving up to face the Rebels by this small crossing. They're almost going to run into each other practically here. This is pretty awesome, actually. Grenades being thrown. Soldiers ducking for cover. Brutal engagement. And we see a lieutenant here leading the squad, which is pretty cool. And we also have a few more scout troopers joining the Stormtroopers here in continuing the attack against the Rebels. So this section of Rebels was pretty much eliminated entirely. Actually, there's a few survivors hiding behind the rocks here. One's gonna head out. He's gonna be shot dead by Stormtroopers on the bridge. Some are trying to pull back. This is just a pretty sticky situation. We got more grenades being used to flush out some of the surviving Rebels. And they're gonna be shot dead, but now more Rebel reinforcements are coming up here to beat back the Stormtroopers. So that is the Tug of War aspect in play. Both factions will be receiving reinforcements at the same time, headed for the same area. So the Rebel goal is essentially to push back the Stormtrooper attack, or the Imperial attack rather, and the Stormtroopers have to break through the Rebel defenses. In fact, the Rebels do have trenches up here, but some have been cleared out. There might be a few survivors up here to the left. In fact, they've all been killed in the first skirmish, but the Rebels will now do what they can to reinforce the trenches and hold the bridge. So that is the very tug of war aspect of this game. In fact, I've created a very small Imperial checkpoint back there in the distance that I'll show you later. And that is the goal for the Rebels today, which is to push back, take the checkpoint, and prevent the Stormtroopers from receiving any more reinforcements. It's kind of like cutting off their chain of command, or, they're crippling their organization and stuff like that. But so the bridge battle itself hasn't quite begun yet. We can see some Rebels here defending the head of the bridge, or the bridge head. I'm not sure you can say head of the bridge, but still, because I mean, there's two bridge heads. Yes, I was about to say bridge hedges. I don't know what a bridge hedge is, but anyway. So yeah. We also have a pilot here, which is most likely an officer in rank, so I guess there's no available spacecraft for him to pilot, so he's on the ground leading the troops. This is pretty awesome, though. They're still holding this side, but more and more Stormtroopers are arriving. led by officers in their black uniforms, which is the Stormtrooper Corps color. The Army and Navy, essentially the Stormtrooper Corps should be part of the Army as far as I'm concerned, but the Navy and Army uses gray, and the Stormtrooper Corps uses black, so I figured it'd be cool. I'm not an expert in uniforms like that. So the Stormtroopers have completely overpowered the Rebels here on the right side. The Rebels have pulled back and are now defending a pretty solid position here, quite literally, because it's covered in rocks and defended or protected by rocks. So they're going to be digging down or digging in here in this sort of trench. It's not a trench, it's more of a small gully. I'm not sure what to call it, but yeah. They're holding out. They're going to hold back the Stormtroopers. Some are even pulling back. Now, no scout troopers are part of the waves or reinforcements, so any scout trooper you see is a rare one, because they would have survived from the very beginning of this battle. The Imperial forces had a few scout troopers positioned out here closer to the rebel positions, and they have scouted out the terrain before the attack of the Stormtroopers, one could say. So this is quite a long-range engagement here. Very awesome stuff indeed. And the goal of this flank here is to kind of come around this area and attack the rebel base from the side. They do have a few defenders here. They've got some decent positions, lots of cover, and it's going to be a tough nut to crack, especially since you're kind of attacking out of this choke point here on the bridge. So the Rebels are going to have plenty of cover around it. So that is why the Empire is sending flanking forces around the right side, and it's also why the Rebels are attempting to hold them back. Okay, so the bridgehead has now been captured by the Stormtroopers. They are moving up in force now, getting lots of guns to bear. This is pretty awesome, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I've been missing Star Wars. I'm having a good time right now. Rebels pulling back, being shot dead as they try and run back. A lot of soldiers taking cover here by the side of the bridge, in order to also be able to engage the Stormtroopers here on the right side of the bridge itself. They're trying to come around to engage the Rebels from the side. I think this is a pretty clever move. Look at this awesome scenery, man. This is beautiful. Been missing Star Wars, and man, I'm excited to get back into it for sure. The fight is continuing here by the bridge. This is really awesome. All the blaster fire going back and forth. Look at all the blaster fire. It's insane. This is just so awesome. I mean, I could get caught up in this for hours, but we're going to move over to the right flank and see how the Stormtroopers are faring against the Rebels defending. It looks like the Rebels are still holding the cliffs back here. Grenades are being thrown to clear out some Rebel positions, and we have Stormtroopers droning up to get closer to the Rebels. One just disappeared into a rock. He's out again. Good for him. That must have been a pretty shocking experience. But once again, they are trying to slowly advance here using the rocks for cover, crawling ever closer to the enemy. I love the fauna on this map. Beautiful with all the trees and bushes and tall grass. simply just beautiful to watch. Lots of focused fire on the Stormtroopers there by the cliffside. That is awesome. They've set up kind of like a firing line here, all prone, firing away at the rebels. Grenades are being thrown here to clear out the Stormtroopers. One was killed, heroically trying to return that grenade to the sender, but he was killed attempting to do so. Back here by the main bridge, the rebels have been pushed out, or pushed back rather, not pushed out entirely. They're still actually holding the bridge. Not the majority of it though, they've been pushed back pretty far now. But they are behind some pretty solid cover, and they've got a lot of firepower here aimed in one direction, so it's going to be tough for the Stormtroopers to advance. Look at this firing line, though. This is pretty insane. Holy moly. It also looks like the Stormtroopers have attempted to push up, taking a lot of casualties doing so, though. So they've gotten as far as up here. What a hero move, but he was eventually shot dead as well by the rebel forces on the opposite side. I'm spotting rebels on the cliffs here by the side, just the way the Stormtroopers are set up on the opposite side. This is really cool. We got a whole squad here aimed at the Stormtroopers. Look at that. It's awesome, and this heavier weapon here has a longer range. Oh, but as soon as the Stormtroopers get in range, the rest just unleash hell. Look at that salvo. That is pretty awesome. Yeah, sometimes, you know, I lose my word over all the blaster fire and everything happening. It's kind of loud for me spectating, which is why I might sound a bit articulate and kind of low in the way I speak, but that's just simply why. Are we seeing a big push now from the Stormtroopers? Are we seeing a commitment here? I'm seeing a lot more white bodies, so to speak, here on the bridge now. What a massive amount of firepower. Absolutely insane. Oh, it looks like the Empire is receiving some walker support. The Stormtroopers up here are about to be backed up by an AT-ST marching towards the bridge now. Kind of a tricky terrain to get past here, so it took a safer route around the side. You don't want to get stuck in the swamp, I suppose. But this guy is not going to be able to cross the bridge. There's too many objects, but he's going to be able to move up and provide some supporting fire here for the Stormtroopers. That is going to suppress the rebels. Oh, it's awesome to see, man. This is really great. Oh, look at the Stormtroopers committing to the assault now. They're moving up. The range is limited on this AT-ST, so it's not going to be able to quite engage all the troops in the rear by the opposite bridgehead. So the rebels are still going to be able to put up quite a fight. Most of the guys got out alive, I think. They lost a few here, maybe half a dozen to the AT-ST, but the rest got out. We have a brave pilot here, still holding the bridge. What a insane man, but still. We're probably not going to remain here to see his fate. We need to move over to the right side. Seen from the Imperial perspective. How is the fight going here? Lots of grenades being thrown. It's awesome to have two front lines, so to speak, at the same time. You know, you have to swap between them. You can't cover all the action. Of course, that would be impossible to have two eyes at both spots. I mean, you'd have to practically have some insane coding skills and possibly two machines. I'm not sure how you'd do it, but perhaps you could set up two cameras in a game somehow. I don't know how, but that would be pretty cool. That would be a way to cover absolutely everything at once. But still, the Stormtroopers are moving up. Now they are on the opposite side of this small center hill. It's not much of a hill. It's almost like a cliffy, rocky ridge in a way. Grenades are still being used liberally here to clear out the opposition. So we have rebels on this side. We have stormtroopers on the opposite side. But the stormtroopers are a little cornered, or surrounded rather. There's a lot of rebel troops out there in the far by the trees. We have some much closer here on the right side, but they are not really posing an imminent threat to the stormtroopers. I think the biggest danger for these guys is the long-range capacity of the rebel rifle. As you can see over here at distance, they are deadly. Way deadlier than the E11 blaster that the stormtroopers use. And I mean, I can't really vouch for that entirely, but logically speaking, this longer, bigger rifle would be more efficient at longer range than the E11 blaster. But I don't really know how blasters work with accuracy and range and all that stuff, so who knows? I can't really vouch for that. But still, stormtroopers here on the opposite side are now moving across in great numbers. That pilot ultimately killed. Perhaps he got away. I don't think so. He's dead over there, so that settles that. Massive firepower, but we have a lot of rebels up there in the ruins holding their ground. Most rebels have also abandoned this cliff position on the side now. We don't really see any casualties here, which means they've pulled back. It's the more logical and reasonable thing to do in a situation like this. So the stormtroopers have to push out of this chokehold. They have to push out of this small bridgehead to kind of gain some ground and be able to spread out, because right now they are taking fire from all angles. They are using the side, not the side rails of the bridge, but you know, the construction, the bridge, what do you call this, a bridge road or a bridge wall or something, to cover them from the flanking fire, and it's working out pretty well for them. So stormtroopers moving up along the sides of the bridge, not really using the center, because that's a kill zone for sure. But look at the amount of firepower being brought up now. They can really match the rebels right now with all these blasters heading up. There's probably a good, I don't know, like probably close to 100 stormtroopers rushing up, which is just insane. 100 stormtroopers here. It's the whole company of stormtroopers. It's a whole nother company, says the rebels, who thought they'd defeated a large portion of the stormtrooper assault. But they're being forced back. We see rebels retreating into the woods here. Once again, this is during the Battle of Yavin. Of course, the Empire landed on the planet, and they fought the rebels on the planet for a long time, until eventually the Death Star was destroyed. I think they forced most of the Imperials back to the Death Star, but they did, you know, there was the raid of Yavin IV where the stormtroopers successfully attacked a rebel base, and you know, there were a few battles and confrontations, but obviously Yavin IV is a planet, not just a small area, so when there's a battle of Yavin IV, there's stuff going on all over the planet. It's a big planet, so it's hard to kind of summarize the whole, you know, planetary war. Or the whole, like, fight on the planet itself in just one battle. I suppose there were many skirmishes, there were many raids, there were, you know, troops all over the planet. I mean, I'm sure the rebels had one base, but there must have been forces spread out, for sure. Not sure what's going on here. Are they trying to take a prisoner? No, doesn't look like it. They shot him dead. And it looks... Oh, the rebel leader is still alive. The one commander here, he's still active. And he's being surrounded now by stormtroopers. He's shot dead. And I think we can call that a win for the stormtroopers. What a kind of almost bizarre result with so many stormtroopers remaining. It's been pretty even in numbers. Of course, the stormtroopers were kind of the attacker in this tug of war. So it's not really a tug of war. It's not like a full-bred tug of war. It's you know, an attack/defense scenario with reinforcements that essentially could turn it around to a tug of war. I've seen during my testings of this battle a few times, I've seen the rebels actually get all the way back here to this small little checkpoint, which I wanted to show you. Yeah, and this is what the rebels would have to take out if they wanted to win today's fight and disrupt the Imperial communications and prevent them from sending in any more reinforcements. Stuff like that. Hope you guys have enjoyed this battle. I'm going to bless you with a casualty report. We're going to mark the rebel casualties in yellow and the stormtrooper Imperial casualties in red. And you can tell the Empire took a lot of casualties here by this rocky cliffside. And the rebels are scattered dead out here in the woods. Just a massive fight. Hundreds of dead here in today's battle here on Yavin IV. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, don't forget to answer my question. What do you guys want to see next in terms of Star Wars? And be sure to leave a like and a comment if you just feel like it. Something nice would be cool to read. I'll be sure to get back to you. And of course, I do read all the comments. And over here, it was kind of just a blitz. The Stormtroopers didn't really take any casualties here, taking out the final defenders. Oh, there's a few dead here on the side, though. A few dead Stormtroopers, so not a complete walkover. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this battle, and I will see you guys soon again. Ciao.